Hmm. Hello everybody, Sniperheadshoter here, and today we are going to make a tier list. So I get start the Warcraft Orcs and Humans soundtrack, and we getting off. So, um, hmm. We don't rank the games, today we rank units. So, let's begin. The first units of Alliance and Orcs is Workers. And the Workers don't have any damage. So we rank them as a dog shit units, because only they could make is working. Now going to real units, Footmans and Grunts. Basically they are the same as sets. However, even where the supreme units knocks like Knights and Wolf Riders, they still can be count on, so we rank them as ace. Both units are great. This rank means they are perfectly balanced and have no exceptions. Now we are going to talk about the ranged units. So, they have a little differences. Alliance crossbowers have a little more range than spearmen, but spearmen have a little more damage. But after all upgrades, they are the same unit, so they are going to also this tier. Now we are going to the most powerful unit in the game, the catapult. Because catapult damage is quite a lot. And because if any units get hit by artillery, they probably already dead. Especially when they are not on the move. So it's a supreme unit of Warcraft 1. Now, we also get to the supreme differences. While we have ace units for Alliance with great ability heal, the enemy Orc got the Necrorite, that is the dogshit unit, even versus the Workers. Because the Raise the Dead ability is quite useless, and the most powerful ability, the Unholy Armor, is almost unusable, because while you cast on your unit group, the half of the duration expired on the first unit. Now we're going to the board, just advanced units, melee units, it's Riders. They also in ace tier, I suppose, because it could be countered by the most useful unit. So we are going to, think you need to know more about the warlock units and mage units and their supremacy. Because their summons are good. And warlock are bad because their summons are bad. Yeah, I suppose the scorpions don't worth the researching. Yeah. So we're going to the next soundtrack, the next game, the Warcraft 2. And of course we are getting to the worker class unit. And they are a lot of useful. Yeah. Workers are getting to the B tier. And because the Warcraft 1, Warcraft 2 units have the same stats, we are ranking them like this. Oh, equipments and grants. Well, they are the ace units of Warcraft 2 because the game speed much more quicker, they are more useful now, but they are still the same stats as of Warcraft 1. Now we are going to range units, and there we have a lot of differences. While the archer units have a little worse than their melee counterparts. The troll berserker on the other side are supreme units because they have regeneration. It's the only unit on Horde that could restore health except of Death Knights, yes. So it's very important to, if you're playing with Axe Throwers, to upgrade them to Berserkers and research the regeneration. With regeneration they can hold out the enormous waves of enemy just regenerating over time and switching the positions. Now we are going to catapults and ballista. Yeah, I don't get a ballista Warcraft 2 or catapult Warcraft 2 icon, so we use this instead. They're the same unit, so yeah. This is a cancer unit. Why that? Because with some synergies of mages and transport units, you can transform your catapults or ballistas are in deadly unit. And so yeah. The water units also cancer units, because a lot of water map is get overrun by water units, and you just can't do with this anything. Yeah, you could play in the more into the surface, but we have a lot of problem. For example, when the water map designed with additional resources on the islands, you can't count that enemy destroyers could hold you off these positions. And the only thing you can outplay the enemy battleships is catapults. Catapults are very clumsy, and of course the enemy could just switch to air. So yeah. What are the... If you enemy in half maps, if enemy hold out you out of water, so you lose. However, there are some exceptions and skillful outplays, but we talk about it a bit later. Oh, I saw some misunderstanding. I soon... Oh, yeah, I found it. Okay, Warcraft 2 units, Paladin. And I just add this unit. Attacks. I found him. So we are going to talk about the rider units, and in this game, rider units pretty decent, but we have a lot of more usefulness in them with upgrades. And now you would say why the paladin is worse than ogre magi? Yes, the paladins give you a healing, and the only healing ability to heal your ground units like a cleric. But while cleric is ace tier, this is a supreme tier. Why? Because the most powerful units in Warcraft 1 is summons. It's not much useful take to heal them. While in Warcraft 2, the most powerful units is paladins and ogre magis. So healing have some sense. But ogre magi had a doubling damage power. So yeah, Bloodlust is very powerful ability, and I suppose it could be very deadly to anyone. Even in unit battles, we can see that 20 Ogre Magi could outrun 60 or even 70 Paladins, because they just out-damage them as hell. Oh, what we get here? The dog shit units, Dwarf Sappers and Goblin Sappers. Okay, this is Dwarf Demolition Team and Goblin Sappers. They basically one level the cringe, because they could explode any unit in the game. All the hero could survive it, but this campaign, so yeah. But they could explode themselves also at once. And their melee damage is a little more effective than the peasants and peons. So yeah, it's just not working very good. I suppose the flying machine and zeppelin are very good, so yeah. Because the scouting is important to win in the game. But why is the zeppelin better? It's their sounds. They are less annoying than gyrocopters. And we get to the end of the point. The Death Knights are supreme unit in Warcraft 2, I suppose, and the Magi's around them. While the Magi can one-shot one unit, almost anytime the Death Knight are more usefulness. Right. Because the Death Coil have a lot of range and they get snapped out any casting units out of the position. Yeah, the human fireballs have more range, but they less damage, and Death Coils also heal Death Knight, so in the duel it would win anyone. And what this is a secret sneaky unit, the Ranger unit. He is a top 3 unit in my opinion. The more useful that Ogre Magi's, Paladins and Berserkers. Why? Because the Ranger units have upgrade for range. And in some map it's very useful because they are, for example, blocked by the rocks giving you some tactical advantage over the not attacking unit. So if enemy don't have a lot of flyers, they can't overplay the range, but if you have a critical mass, they better not using flyers, because while they trying to approach with their pitiful range, the rangers already shot them at the half HP. So yeah, it's not a good idea to play air units against rangers. Even berserkers don't give you a little choice to play with air units. And so yeah, I think it's F for forbidden air units. They are cool designs. Griffin and Dragon basically have the same stats, but they have one big problem. Splash. It deals air damage as well, and friendly fire as well. So yeah, better not using air units in multiplayer, but if your hands are pretty normal, you can use them, especially against AI, especially their own units. So yeah, we are going to the Warcraft 3, yay! There are a lot of units, so I would be quick now about it. So we are starting that this sorts are sorted by the alphabetic. So yeah, would give talk about units as alphabet order, not just trying to make them as a Warcraft unit progression. Acolyte. It's working class, yeah. I suppose it's branded unit, because you would see on the other campaigns of working class that I prefer using a ghouls and making adjustments. Just a ghouls are also a working unit, because Acolyte a bit clumsy unit. They step over about each other and you feel a full sense of misunderstandings. Okay, so we're getting to the Warcraft 3 soundtracks. Yeah, Warcraft 3 soundtracks are very good. Abomination. And I think there is also brain dead unit. Why? Because the brain dead units is not about their break as hell or just giving you an impossible unit level. No, brain dead unit, in my opinion, is a unit that you don't use your brain at all. Acolytes as attacking units. Oh, I think, yeah, I need to make it more. I think I need to take it more silently. Yeah, lesser volume. Yeah. So yeah, why is Abomination brain dead unit? They just don't have any abilities other than Decisive Cloud, and is also passive. So all you need to make with them is trying to surround the enemy, or just make them meat wall for your ranger units. It's not a big deal. Also, they could be used as very helpful consumables for your heroes. For example, the Death Knight or Lich could transform them into a lot of mana or a lot of health. For example, at the 5th level, Death Knight could transform the one Abomination into 4,000 health. So if you have a melee map with almost endless health heroes or crazy stats, the Abomination could be very tough dealing unit. Because while Paladin at 10 level or 5 plus hundreds levels, if you don't rework abilities, he would be the same Paladin. But the Death Knight could just eat the units the more efficiently. So yeah, very nice. Azure Drake. Drakes are very interesting units. It's 10 limit unit. Yeah, so it could be useful. But he is very expensive and could be not efficiently at all. But why Azure Drake a forbidden unit? Because he has chill ability. After attack, his chilling breath making unit a little slower in attack speed and movement speed, just like the Nerubian Tower. But there is some bug in the Warcraft 3 Frozen Throne, I suppose, and it could be also transferred to the Reforged, but that Dryad plus Dryad Poison plus the slowing cold making it just unmoving. Not very slowed, he just stopped moving at all. So this combination is very deadly. Archers. Archers are supreme unit of Warcraft 2. So their Warcraft 3 conception is not an exception. Yeah, I just making sure that units are in direct orders, because Warcraft 1 units is first, then Warcraft 2 units, and after this is Warcraft 3 units. So you could see a progression. Okay, so Archers the most damage dealing unit, because the DPS are the most higher in any cases. The more damaging on the catapults, but they have a lot of problems for example, you could just dodge the projectile they launched, and they don't attacking the air units, that making more powerful from Warcraft 2 standards. Ballista and Glaive Thrower. It's a very decent unit. So I suppose it's ace unit. Almost any units have some preferences. Oh, you might ask me why these summons are forbidden if the F forbidden rank making something very bad for balance. Because they spawned at 2 at time groups, and you can just outrush enemy with them. And all summons have some utilities. This unit just nasty. So yeah. Thinking about the forbidden rank is about its units are nasty, not about the powerful. Banshees. Banshees are supreme units, yes. They're not good frontliners, but they can curse, that's slightly decreasing enemy output, damage output, yeah. And they have a lot of utility abilities like possession, that can, for example, steal enemy abominations to make your units more number counting, yeah. Because they count 2 limits, while they can outrun and outtake the towers, for example, that's 5 limits. So 40 limits of Banshee would transform it into 100 limit of towers. But where you see the game when enemy players use only towers. It's very stupid. So looking about this like a stand for a time, and just after this they could steal some. So yeah. Making move, the most useful Drake. And it's a very decent unit, I suppose. Yeah, it's a brain dead. The Black Drake have attack power of type of child damage. So it makes a little less effective against casters, but effective against buildings. So tactic with taking out the air units with steam engines upgraded to tanks is not an option. Okay, so now we're making to the other unit. It's a bronze Drake. And it's a dog shit. It's almost the worst unit in the Drake series, because he don't have any special abilities. He don't chill, he don't poison, he don't have a house damage, he's just a dragon. So yeah, not quite useful. On some maps I suppose he had a magic damage, but I remember this from Rexar campaign, so no, we don't take it in account. Centaurs or Centaurs. Well, all of them is brain dead, yeah. They're the worst in campaign units, but the Centaur Kane is on the counterparts are AS unit. These have searing arrows, these have just stats, basically, and a little more movement. But this have our useful hour, commanding hour, if I recall correctly, and he can stomp. Also, some of them have a reincarnation ability, so yeah. Chimera is a cancer unit because when you have some maps with I would say environmental abuse, for example heals, you could definitely say that all air units with a lot of damage and not a lot of attack speeds would just transform your ground composition unit into the hell. This is a cancer unit not because only this fact, but because it's an air siege unit and could be very destructive in right hands. Also we have ace units with pretends to be supreme unit is a crypt fiend. His stats are very cool. But he don't attack air. He have a web on tier 2 to drop air units into the ground. So the most valuable thing of this unit is just that he let other units attack ground units. Air units to like a ground. And immobilizing them. So yeah, it's very useful, but he have a lot of problems. For example, it's a free limits and the most expensive ranger unit. And the more problem that is very clumsy. Yeah, they could just borrow and surround enemy with borrow, but it don't make much more sense. Oh, you might ask me why the Doomguard in this? Because we have consumables that could summon them and the pit lords that could use them as well. And they very brain dead unit. Yeah. He had a lot of abilities, but none of them useful at all. For example, the Cripple is very tough ability, but the Necromancers could be messed. Doomguards are not. The Rain of Fire are useful ability, but it's level 1 and don't take a lot of damage to anyone. And Stomp. Yeah, good that the Stomp could stun vehicles, but did you really suffer with enemy vehicles a lot? I think not. And it's level 1 Stomp. Now we're going to talk about Dragonhawk. Dragonhawk, it's supreme air counter unit. Only the gyrocopters could be more useful with because they have a lasso ability that ensnare unit in air. Yeah, it don't drop it at the ground, but it's completely not doing anything. So if enemy have some 7 limits unit like a frost worms or even worse, they have high mirrors, you can just make them cry with these units. And also they have a piercing damage, not magic, so they can damage the Sphinx or destroyers. But it's not an option when you have a gyrocopters. So they supreme tier, but gyrocopter, when we return to them, they're more useful than them. Druid of the Claw. It's a ace unit with because he could heal, he could buff damage, and he could transform into the siege bear. Why siege bear? Because when the enemy night elf have a lot of bears, you know what would come to your base. Because the normal attack unit with damage output as knights or abominations with healing and damage boost from also this unit. Well, it would be very poor decision to not defend your bases against it. Druid of the Talon is more useful in my opinion, because they decreasing your armors and could just make them cycloning. So without of dispel, you just making the they are just useful as hell. So yeah, they just neutralizing enemy units, and if they are getting problems, they can transform, and making air units are problems. So yeah, it could be useful. Dryad is a cancer unit, in my opinion. It could be forbidden, but they have some critical problems. The main is their magic immune. Why is this a problem? Because they can't get any buffs, so they can't get any debuffs, yeah, but don't get any buffs are more problematic, because they don't get roar, they don't get any magic buff. The thing they get from the mages is healing and rejuvenation. So yeah, it's a bit tricky. Trends are, well, it's cannon fodder. I suppose it's a dogshit unit, because yeah, he could damage. Yeah, he could make enemy cry, but he haven't any abilities, and without our free from the keeper, he lose almost any battle with melee units, even with upgrade for armor and moving speed. Hellhound, well, it's a pretty decent unit. He has mana burn, he have chaos damage, and of course it's a summon from consumables. So yeah, it's very decent unit. Footmans are in range. It's a brain dead unit with defend ability that's not working correctly in Warcraft Frozen 3 Frozen Throne, but correctly recalled in Reforged. In Reforged, they finally can use the shields against the wyverns, because in Warcraft 3 for some reasons their shields haven't not working with reflecting ability. Reflect just don't making you don't get the damage, and enemy see his own projectile getting into his face, and with poison units is just fucking damage. It's devastation. So yeah, footmans are very brain dead unit. Troll priest. It's a ace unit, but not very useful. Yeah, he useful as more like an arrows, because you could get them early and heal, especially when you are playing orcs. But he is very weak against any ranger units, and he don't have anything else. Troll hunter. Well, it's a brain dead unit, but very low tier, because his damage output is Okay. Yeah, his damage are good against some air units, but they just don't have anything else than the damage. And of course we get the troll hunters. They have ensnare abilities, so it makes them more useful than trolls troll berserkers. But they still sucking at them dealing damage. Frostworm is a dogshit unit. It's better than Bronze Drake, but still very useful. Well, useless. Yeah. 4 blocks are brain dead unit, but the Ursa warrior unit is ace. And they are at the same power level at the hand. While these have a Stomp war damage ability for aura, yeah. And of course they have Stomp. These have more useful aura, if I recall correctly. Endurance aura. Speed is the game. Gargoyles. Gargoyles are incredibly devastating in the numbers, but against the airs they just suck. So I suppose it's correctly recall them are ace unit. Ghouls. Ghouls are just brain dead unit at the lowest tier. They don't get a cancer unit because making them cancer not the unit itself, it's a Dreadlord with Vampiric Aura 3 and Death Knight with Unholy Aura 3 when they're unstoppable machines of dealing damage which could be placed out of existence with chimeras, frost worms, and any other great damage output for the ground. Gnolls. Gnolls also brain dead unit, but this a little more damaging because it's a Gnoll assassin with poison. Yeah. Just poison making them more useful. And this leader of Gnolls, and it's a little more useful because he also have our Troll Headhunter. Troll Headhunter are brain dead unit, top 1 brain dead unit. He can transform to the Berserker and it's more useful unit, but we don't talk about it a lot of. Yeah. Gnoll Overseer. I think it's there. Yeah. Because they're common to have 2 of them in the creep camp, and he can dispel units with Purge. It's very useful ability. So yeah. Zeppelin. Zeppelin are cancer units because they're making so much nerfs of the no great players. And to them also we have a sappers. Sappers are just blowing the buildings, especially farms and altars, because they're dealing around 500 damage, so 2 sappers could destroy any building except of main building. So if you have your hands very goofy, yeah. You just get a surprise attack enemy with them. But don't forget that their damage against the units are stuck. Yeah, they could explode ghouls, but more helpful units just don't see at all their damage. And we have Green Drake have poison if I recall correctly, and it's still not a very good unit. All Drakes have some pluses, this Drake don't get a lot of pluses. Grunt is a brain dead unit to its core. Yeah. So, because it's a not very smart one fighter with ability to make even more versatile as fighter. Just get a bit more health and a bit of more damage. So yeah, like Griffins just making you cry, but otherwise here ground superiority unit. Only tower is better than them in dealing damage, and of course in tanking them also. Serpent Wars, its ability of Shadow Hunter, but also it is a category for any wards. Sentry wards, stasis wards, healing wards, it's all wards about. And I think they are just dog shit. A useful dog shit, but still dog shit. And yep. I talked about it a little earlier, that gyrocopters are very useful unit. He deal a lot of damage in air, and with upgrades it's splash damage. And with other upgrade, he can damage buildings with air bombs that deal siege damage. So yeah, it could be nasty unit against your economy, especially when you are playing the undead. So yeah, it's a perfectly supreme unit. Garpy creeps are dog shit, but their queen even was dog shit. Yeah, they have nasty abilities, but don't even think that they could win you a game if you buy them somehow. It's just a unit that better be artillery fodder. Okay, so now we have a heroes. Archmage, perfectly ace tier. Not supreme, but ace. Why? Because even if he survive the most fights and regenerate your caster's mana, he don't make some too much sense. Yeah, water elementals are good, even they had yeah, they are here because they have a lot of health and damage output, and they just summons. But all summons could be counterplayed with dispel, so yeah. His blizzard ability also great, and mass teleport ability is very tough to counterplay with. But some exceptions here. For example, Orcs Blade Master have a lot of damage, and I think any races than Night Elf could quickly make dispose of your Archmage. So yeah, Blade Master are brain dead. Because almost any players on the ladder playing them very annoyingly. They walk into the enemy base and snipe out the enemy workers. If the enemy have more IQ than yours, he definitely counterplay you with surrounding or just very tough building ways. And of course, Alliance have Burning Tower, Undead have Freezing Tower, Nerubian Tower, yeah. A night elf could just hide their wisps into the haunted mine, and they just could heal them with the whales. And orc just borrow units in the burrows. So yeah, Blade Master can be contemplated in any races. And we're going to other ace hero, the Death Knight. He are not superior hero, but his decent stats, his race and other, making him a lot of much more stronger than Archmage in early and late game. But in mid game he had some down poor time. Yeah. Now we're going to Farseer. Farseer are I think ace unit, but not very good. Yeah, it would be here. He could caress, much more useful than much more useful than Blade Master, because while he harassing enemy units with wolves, he also could creeping with grunts, so he don't lose a tempo. And now we're getting to Demon Hunter, and Demon Hunter are supreme unit, but not supreme as much, because all his suffering of the lesser stats, not very good combat units, is going to his demon form on 6th level. Demon form is very badass, it's very strong, it's very damageful, it even have a splash, but the Demon Hunter way is to suffer against any races up to the 6th level. Yeah. Leech Hero. Leech Hero is supreme unit, because if you watch my videos with Leech, you could see how devastating it could be. He could use spam first Nova, he could just outrun enemy with frost armor, making him even tougher than Paladin. And of course his Death and Decay ability could destroy any buildings in any time. Just make him cast it at 20 seconds, yeah. Even repair couldn't save it. Paladins. Paladins are ace heroes, and they are rivals with the Death Knights. While Death Knight giving you a speed opportunity, the Paladin gives you a toughness opportunity with armor. And also he could use Divine Shield to level 2 heal and get dispose of your working class. Yeah, it's disgusting. So yeah, Vampire or also Dead Dreadlord is also supreme hero, because with combination his Vampire aura and your fast creeping ghouls, he could get a lot of tempo and run into your base with enormous stats. Yeah, this archer is Elven Archer, and yeah, Elven Archer from campaign. And I just make her here because I just need to talk about all campaign special units. They all decent, but don't get into the multiplayer because, well, they have some of them cancer, some of them dog shit, and some of them even forbidden. Okay, now we're going to Mountain King hero, and it's I think also Ace hero. Yeah, you see, the undead heroes are very good because they could combine in any armies, even non-undead army containments. While the human heroes are very decent, but they have some usefulness in any times. Archmage is supporting hero. Paladin also supporting hero. But if Archmage is mage support hero, it's all unit support hero. And Mountain King is just a bulky hero that could hunt down the enemy heroes. So yeah. You could see the how it says a positive opinion, but hyper archers are very useful with units than the just basic archers. Yeah, they can fly. Yeah, they can attack at any time, but they have some problems. Well, for example, the archers basically on the ground have ability that decrease enemy piercing damage and enemy magic damage to make them a little more tankier. But we have some problems. More. While they flying, they armor type getting more piercing damage. They don't have this ability, and the more worse, these units have armor upgrade from the hypers and damage upgrade from the archers. So yeah, it's basically making them more useful as, yeah. Towering Chieftain. Towering Chieftain, also brain-dead unit. You see the Orc heroes are more weaker than Alliance, but the other units pretty tough to play. So, Reincarnation, Endurance Hour, Stomp, and damage abilities that could make dispose of enemy buildings. Cool, but not enough to get into many games. Huntress. Huntresses are the only... Yeah, they are only brain-dead unit of the Night Elf. Why is that? Because the Hypos is a dogshit unit. Yeah, they could just crush any air resistance with no time. But what they can do after your ground units are destroyed and the enemy don't have any air units left? Nothing. They just doing nothing against ground units. You can say, but I could use archers to combine them. Yeah, hyper archers could deal damage to the ground, but if enemy on opposite side have air superiority, you better unmount the hyper archer, because archers could deal more damage and make a more sustainable force, and the hypers just fighting the air. Goblin Lumberjack. It's ace unit, but not quite good. Because Lumberjack have a lot of damage, but it's not why you pick them. You need them to harvest the lumber and take out your working on the lumber responsibilities from ghouls, from peasants, from anyone else, because you don't need that at all. Keeper. Keeper as a good hero. Yeah. Demon Hunter are very good hero. This hero as a tempo hero. And that's all. It's his other name is Temp. If you play with them, with Night Elves and Keepers like I know, Turtling, you just lose in 90% games, because Turtling with Keepers are not good idea. Even if you playing the Beer Rush. Yeah. Necromancers. Necromancers are cancer units if enemy don't have any type of dispel. Yeah, you could just outsmart enemy just to make them think you play necromancers, and then use destroyers to crush their magic full armor. Or just destroy enemy that counters necromancer, like for example, Griffin Riders somehow and Chimeras thinks of that they could out damage ground enemies, and especially a swarm of skeletons, but the destroyers are just immune to damage. So yeah. Knights. Knights are pretty decent unit, but they are brain dead. And in my opinion, even worse than grunts. Why that? Well, they are a lot of costly, especially in lumber. They taking 4 limits, and they are tier 3 unit, while grunts are tier 2 superiority unit. And when the towering comes, it just don't works, even with this armor upgrades. Kobolds are dog shit unit. Yeah. But it's only base 1 units. The Gold Seeker, on the other hand, is a bit cancer unit here. Because they have slow ability if you creep if you creeping without cautious, you just could get in very nasty situation, like you creeping, they get you slow, enemy engage, you just can get run out, and you forced to use the teleport scroll, because your units could just die out while they trying to run with slow on them. Yeah, very nasty. Pit Lords, especially campaign Pit Lords, it's a dog shit units. Don't count on them as a... In AI hands, they are very useful because they have some preferences. Like they don't cost to them nothing. But if they could be trained as units with additional costs, like hero units, it's not worth to make them. Yeah. Kodos. Kodos are cancer units, yeah. Because they can devour enemy units, especially knights, taurens, bears, and all other 4+ limits ground units. They don't take a lot of damage to get slain. They don't experience any preferences from upgrades. And they have hour of damage. That's very useful. Okay. Human militia. Human militia are ace unit for some reasons. For example, they are good at creeping. They have a lot of more armor than basic footmen, and their problem is their health bar. So Dreadlord with level 3 Crypt Swarm could just slay them in one spell. Mortar Team ace unit. Yeah. I highly recommend you to try playing with mortars against especially spiders with decent upgrades, yeah. Especially with their upgrades against medium armor. Murlocs. This is a cancer Murloc because he has a poison. This this have a poison decisive cloud, and this have poison. The Murloc Hunter, on the other hand, is also in the tier with Troll Hunter, yeah, because they also have ensnare. It's very easy. Well, the Nerubians are dog shit, but a little more useful than Garpers. Oh, yeah, the Shadowcrawler Murloc. The full Murloc family finally here. Exterminate them. Okay, the Nerubian Queen. It's a very, very, very nasty unit. And I suppose it could be a dog shit as well, but you don't see her often. She have Unholy Hour and she have Raise the Dead ability. So yeah, it's very useful. The Ogre Commander are brain dead units and very good unit. And this brain dead unit that's a lot of worse. Yeah, buff is good, but not at all. I think so. Wild Owl is not a good unit, and this is Ogre Soldier are just embarrassing unit with not good stats. Ogre Soldier, for other hand, is very good at stats, but it's only half a stats, not a big deal. Okay, so Workers. It's the same unit, so yeah, it's ace. They can multi-build, they can good fights for you, and militia speed more efficient than other worker units, so they are also faster expanding unit. Orc peons are also ace unit because they are hiding in the buildings. They can have money taking ability. Yeah. They just can rob the buildings. Oh, and we have only one neutral hero to make to this point. It's a Pit Lord, and it's the pity that he a brain dead unit. Even worth the grants, because his only useful ability is Doomguard. And Doomguards are not so powerful at all. Priests are superiority caster, in my opinion, because healing inner fire and AOE dispel abilities are very useful at tier 2 and tier 3. Priestess of the Moon. Well, I already talked that all Night Elf heroes are good, but someone just needs to hear my point. In the army of archers, huntresses, and ballistas, also plus dryads, the heroes that provide you bonus damage output for ranged units is very useful. And much useful than Demon Hunter, because they could transform Chimera from the just cancer unit to fucking disaster. Just see how many units could outrun or outlive this damage. Okay, Wolf Rider. Wolf Rider are great units. It's a best siege unit in the game that is not counted as a catapult or other. I see. We need to also deploy the destroyer. Yeah, catapults. It's catapults of the orcs with their. It's yeah. Why are you even talking about this too much? It's a supreme unit to damage buildings. Much efficient than meat wagons. Also, which I also forget to put on the list. In the game files, they are also known as Metapult, and it's very fun that we have this icon. Yeah. So Meat Wagon have a little more than just damage. They could spread disease cloud, and they also capable of transport the bodies for the necromancer. Skeletons. Well, it's dog unit, but skeleton ranged units on the other hand is very useful. Ravens are good units, but not at all. Summon of shamans and healers on the quiver or bristlebacks, very useful, but they don't have any other abilities that just damage. Revenant is the most useful summon in the natural tier, especially with Frost Nova and Vampiric Aura. The Red Dragon. The Red Dragon is pretty decent unit. Still, he don't very useful as a Black Dragon, but he's much more useful as fighter because of his stats and more improved slash. Wendigo and Tar Creeper. Yeah, it's a pretty decent unit, but you don't often see it playing at all. Rock Golem. With not much talking, it's better than Water Elemental. Because he could throw the boulders and make them enemy cry with cancelable abilities and making them regret that they don't teleport earlier. Owl is a very good scouting unit. It's the best scouting unit. Also, he detects the invisible units, so yeah. Satyrs, they have mana burn, they just cancer of the ground, of this lands, bruh. The Vindigo and, well, it's dogshit unit. Rifles are brain dead, and the most mediocre unit in this tier list. Satyr Hellspawn. It's a cancer unit against campaign to play with. Shade also great unit, but it's don't paying too much attention to the shades. I suppose it's not a brain dead, but dog shit unit. Shamans. Shamans are very good unit. And don't need too much attention to play with them. Skeleton archers and other skeletons. Is it also dog shit units? This is also cancer unit because he has a slow. And we get to the most cancerous elf, because they have a lot of negative abilities. Polymorph, invisible, and slow. All of them making you suffer. Spiders are... well, all spiders are bad. This one cancerous because he have a poison. This is a ranged one, and this is a poisonous ranged one. Spiderlings are the most useless units. The Farseer Spirit Walks are good unit. Steamroll, yay! The most devastating and annoying combination is Paladin, our free armor, and these machines. Tauren a decent unit with a lot of qualities to fight. Thunder Lizard. It's okay. I even think it's better than Windigos. Salamander, on the other hand, is much more useful because they have slayers, they have damage. Trends or all elven buildings are brain dead. Because all of them have a lot of damage. Yeah, and also Vindigo in snow regions have this one have rejuvenation, so it could be cancerous to play around. Witch Doctors. I think it's AC unit. Yeah, not too much, but very useful because the wards have some place in these unit types. And the last unit is a Wyvern. What could I say? Wyvern are just not working at all. If you're trying to counterplay enemy air with Wyverns, you're doing something wrong. Yep. And that's all. All tier list is here. I could make you... yeah. Now you see all your lists here. You could send it to anyone.